Parents, thank you for taking time out of your busy work schedule to be here with us. Just an overview about the first year experience program. First year students typically, when they go to a university, they're a part of a program. So our program is first year academic and college life experience. We provide that guidance that they need to get through their first year in college as a program. We provide scholarship. And another component with the program is that we get the students involved in the community. I believe that giving back is like the best thing that any first year student can do in their first year because someone paid it forward for them. So a lot of our community engagement that we do, we promote literacy. And our literacy project is when we go into the community and we read with children. This summer we're hosting a book festival in Liberty City. The kids that we're attracting in this neighborhood, the closest library is about a 30 to 40 minute walk for the children. And in that demographic within that area, there's like one book for every 200 children that you see. So the access is very limited, and we've been doing a lot of research to find out how we can help and how we can pay it forward, and the research is being done with our group. We received a grant, a $10,000 grant to put this initiative on, but to also educate our parents as to, reading at home with children. How many of you remember when you were little, or if you remember, your parents doing like phonics with you? You're learning how to sound out words. You'll be surprised that a lot of the children in the neighborhood do not know how to do that. Like I would literally walk up with them with a book to them and they would walk away from me. And they're like, they're afraid because I don't know what it is, they're not connecting with the books. But it all starts at home. We do not put down the parents because a lot of times they're busy trying to put meals on the table. And in this area, it is an area where it's less fortunate and they have to kind of do a little bit more to get more resources. But my goal is to make sure that our first year students is aware of that. That just because you have the resources doesn't mean that everybody else in the community have what you have. So give yourself a round of applause that some of you do get financial aid. How many of you get financial aid? You're very fortunate because a lot of students don't have that. I had students who had to walk away from their class because they could not get a wisdom tooth pulled out. And you'll be surprised how many children do not have access to health. The benefits that we think that we should have access to, a lot of people don't have them. So my goal with the first year program is to get you all involved and find out what your interests are so that we can give back as much as we can as you move forward in your planning your future. So the scholarship that we have is for $1,000. How many of you know about the scholarship? First year students? Some of you. Who's your advisor? But we have a $1,000 scholarship. First place is $1,000, second place is $250, and the third place is also $250. Money goes a long way, okay? For the summer, this money would be used for the summer. You have to write a paper about what your community service would be like for a summer initiative. So it's very simple, 1,000 words, not that difficult. You guys write more than 1,000 words, right? Great, so how many of you are excited about applying for the scholarship? Parents, you are my witness. This is free money, and this is competition, so if they're not interested, you know that we did try, right? And then you help out your parents by not having to ask them for more money, right? When you can get your books from us. So Miguel, are we ready to start?
We actually started quickly.
Oops. That's the female in me. But welcome everyone. Thank you again for joining us. My name is Suze Guillaume. I hear somebody back there laughing. Yes, we love the children. Like, we can do your map and your IEP right now. Let's do it. Just a little bit about myself. I've been here for 8 years, graduate of the University of Florida. Parents, I wish I would have listened to my mom and stayed here and go to Miami Dade. No offense to UF, but I realized how much I would save if I would have stayed home. Just a thought, now that I'm a little bit older and wiser. But I started with the first year program about 8 years ago. Originally, my first major was to be a filmmaker, documentary, and all that good stuff. So I was working in my field while I was in high school. So when I went to UF, I was already working with MTV and BET, and I was doing all these amazing things. And then I had the opportunity to do a documentary, and that documentary was in Africa. After I graduated, I had an opportunity to work on a documentary. Guess what happened to me, if you guys can just guess what happened. Not just the money, something else happened.
Change career.
My mom would, I had him at 27. I didn't change career. I was ill. So I had to move back home to mom. It's like everything goes back to mom, right? What they say and they tell you. I had to move back home and my mom had to care for me. So after moving back home, I didn't know that there were jobs in higher ed. I didn't really care about working at a college. I'm being very transparent because we make these decisions as to this is what I'm gonna be and this is what I'm gonna do. And life, there's a shift that is unexpected, right? For most of us, that's what happened. So I ended up moving back. I remember I was in my car. I was taking a nap. I told my mom I was going to work. I lied, y'all. I didn't have a job at that time. But I was napping in the car, and then I got a phone call 6 months later from Miami Dade that I was going to get my first real job interview. So surprisingly, y'all, when you get these degrees and you think that, right after college, I'm going to have a job, woohoo, it doesn't work that way. There's something called life, right, and experience. So I didn't have that much of it because all I knew was film and the industry. But if I could go back to when I was 20, I would kind of like venture out and find out what other things I would have been interested in. Because now I'm realizing at this point in time that, you know what, if I would have thought about it and if I would have made these decisions and I end up here at Miami Dade as an academic advisor. I didn't know this job exists and now this is my career path. So just so you know, how many of you want to become a doctor or a nurse? Great. Keep that. But if you have a talent and a gift, keep those two because they never leave you. If you want to ever write a book, follow those dreams. Don't let them go because those are what's going to pick you up at the end. Okay? So now I'm going to introduce our partner. Aspire to Inspire is a program that we started, and we're celebrating 5 years this year. Exciting because we get to bring professionals from the community into Miami-Dade that we don't pay them anything to come here and talk to our students. The Caribbean Bar Association is a partner as well. And lawyers, anybody want to study law? Yes, so I need you to connect with them because they actually have an organization for students to join to learn about that. And she could be your mentor. Business card exchange. So I'm going to introduce Miss Alison F. Smith. She's been with us for so long. It's her baby, actually. Yeah, so come on down.
Well, hello everybody, good evening.
Hello.
All right. Yes, I'm like, wait, this is way too short for me. Welcome to the parents who are here. I know you're probably really excited and you should be. Your babies, this is my baby. I don't actually have a real baby, so this is my baby. And to the students, the ones who completed and the ones who are in their first year and the ones who are in their second year, for all your success, all of the great things that you're doing in school. My name is Alison Smith, like Susie said, and I'm a past president of the Caribbean Bar Association. So that association is comprised of attorneys from different islands in the Caribbean, and we practice different areas of the law. I know I don't look like it, but I've been practicing for 15 years. And so I was in school in your shoes over 20 years ago. Really shocking, actually makes me feel so old. But I created this program when I was the president-elect of the Caribbean Bar Association in partnership with Miami Dade, which I'm so grateful for this partnership because I understand how important it is to bring resources to the students. So you don't always have those resources there. People like the speaker we have today, Shaun Gayle, she's the assistant city manager at the city of Miramar. I'm their city attorney. And she's going to come and speak to you about success in school. She actually has children who are in college and one that's going into college right now. So she's a perfect person for the parents and for the students to hear from. But I created this because I really wanted to bridge that gap. I wanted to be the bridge to bring people to help to inspire you. That's where the name comes from. Aspire to inspire. We want you to aspire to be an inspiration to others. It's like a play on paying it forward. So without taking up all the time, because Susie knows I like to talk, that's why I'm a lawyer. So without taking up all your time, I'm going to have Susie come back up and she'll introduce our speaker who's wonderful, amazing, talented, super articulate. But Susie will introduce her properly. And just thank you so much for being here. And like Susie said, it's for free. So please, when the speaker comes up, show her love because she's doing it without being compensated. Thank you so much.
And I actually want to give, a round of applause to our staff. Our director, we have a new director, I don't think you've met her, Nashe Atkins, at the North Campus, advising us. So if you guys ever need anything, we're here to support you. Josh is here as well from Admissions, parents, if you want to take a class, you know, leisure, admissions process, we have someone there for you. George, he's also new to our department, advisement as well. And Miguel Murphy, who just came from LA today, thank you for being here. Because I thought he was that coach. But thank you for being here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker. Shaun Gayle has over 18 years of varied experience, progressively responsible executive public administration experience. Ms. Gayle serves as an assistant city manager and a spokesperson for the city of Miramar, Florida, where she provides executive oversight of the city's Human Resources Department, social services programs, business inclusion diversity program, marketing and communication division, and office of the city clerk. Shaun has served on the Broward County Housing and Community Development Task Force, the United Way Mentorship Program, and other community organizations, and is a member of the National Forum for Black Public Administrators, the Broward County City Managers Association, City County Communication and Marketing Association. She is also passionate about giving back, and she can always be found mentoring youth or anyone she can reach about to maintain a positive attitude, goal setting, and having a definite aim for the future. Shaun celebrated 25 years of marriage. Woo-hoo! That's a celebration, y'all. A party, balloons, yes. To her husband, and is the proud parent of daughter Crystal Gayle, a student in the College of Pharmacy at the University of South Florida. Bulls?
Yes.
Yes, go Bulls, see? Gators, we love our Bulls. And son, Glenford Gayle, a high school senior and fire candidate. Look, you guys, we have everything here. Come on and join us. She's just so beautiful, and I didn't wear my heels, so she's coming like this now. But let's welcome her.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for having me this afternoon. Again, my name is Shaun Gayle, Assistant City Manager and City Spokesperson for the City of Miramar. It is indeed an honor to be here this afternoon to share with you. As Susie mentioned, who is in the room, I realize that we have a wide cross-section of individuals here this afternoon. And in sharing today, I brought my notes because, as Alison said about time, I am also a stickler for time, so I want to be respectful of your time. So even though I'm going to be sharing with you what is innate to me and what I know, I want to be respectful of your time. And I really loved the topic tonight. It says, creating a plan for success in college and life. Because a lot of times, you know, when we start college, we think we're going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then we graduate and life starts to happen. And then it's a culture shock sometimes. And it can be very discouraging. But if we have the right focus and the right thought process going ahead, we can make it. So I want to start out this evening by telling you a little story. I was raised mostly by my grandmother, and my grandmother was a very strong proponent of school choice. It happened a very sunny Sunday afternoon when we had a Parent-Teachers Association meeting. And PTA meetings were held on Sundays, and it was okay because there was a large playground. Now, I wasn't allowed to go on the playground. I had to sit right next to my grandmother. So when I went home after school every evening, my grandmother, now I'm 9 years old, my grandmother would check my books every single day. And I just thought she was checking just to see my penmanship because that was huge back then. And I thought that's what she was checking. But my grandmother was actually checking every single grammar, every single sentence, and every single math problem. It was such a math problem that created a drastic change in my young life. My grandma took my book one evening, and when she went to check it, she returned with a brand new book with no explanation. I didn't argue, I couldn't argue, so I took the new book and I went to school the next day. Now it was time for parent-teachers meeting. So my grandma showed up, I was sitting next to her, the meeting progressed, Then she pulled out the old book. She opened it to the page the last page I wrote on. It was a math problem that I had. I had 9 and 6. And if you add that, what do you get?
15.
Thank you. So I thought too. The teacher, however, in all her wisdom, changed that to 16. My grandma took the book and took it to the principal and said, "Your teachers are not qualified to teach my grandchild." That did not just point out an error. The drastic change that created was, before I knew it, I was registered for a different school 3 towns away. The problem with that is, it wasn't minutes to walk, it was hours to walk. I had no choice because this school was no longer an option for my grandmother. So I now walked hours to go to school. When I stood and looked ahead, sometimes I wondered, how am I going to make it? My chores didn't change, by the way. I had the same chores I had to wake up and do before I got to school, and I had better get there on time because back then the principal stood by the gate with a whip. And so you dare not be late because that was a consequence of being late. Do you see how time management became my new occupation? So now at the age of 10, I had to plan my time to walk for hours to get to school on time, and my books were going to be checked at the end of each day just the same. So I took my exams, I passed the exams for the high school, the best high school in the area. I graduated high school like my grandmother expected me to. After graduation, with 5 siblings, college was not an option. There were 2 things that were an option. If you wanted to be a teacher, the government would pay for that. If you wanted to be a nurse, the government would pay for that. If you wanted to be anything else, it was on your dime. So what did I do? I got a job and I started going to school at night. I had to take 2 and sometimes 3 buses to get home at night after working all day. And so this was by no means easy. I say that to share this with you, that by the time I came to this country, I was oriented in overcoming obstacles. And so there was no obstacle that I would face to education that would stop me from pursuing education. There were courses that I took back home that I would have to retake here. It paled in comparison to walking what I later found out was 15 miles one way to go to a school 3 towns away because my grandmother wanted more from me than was being offered in the community where I lived. So you must understand, when I view education, I didn't just view it as something that was, oh, okay, I can do this. I viewed this as something that was a must, and I could not allow an obstacle to prevent me from accomplishing it. What I want to share with you today is that sometimes along the way we seem to take the path that is easiest. I came here, got a job before I started furthering my education. It wasn't enough for me to just have a job. I wanted to do better and get more. I was a hard worker, and I was told at one point, you're a good worker, but you don't have the degree. I purposed in my mind that that was the only time that I was ever going to hear that comment. That I was a good worker, but I did not have the degree. By this time, I was a wife and a mother, and now I had a job. But that was the day when I found my why. That was the why for me. The why for me was never again to hear that I'm a good worker, but I did not have the degree. That somebody else with a degree would now come and be able to earn more than I would because I didn't have the degree, no matter how hard I worked. As I look across the room this evening, I understand that we all come from different walks of life. Our experiences might be different, and I'm glad that we have some parents here, Alison, because I thought it was only going to be students. But I really appreciate the fact that I have parents here this afternoon. Because remembering the story from my grandmother, that taught me when I had children that there was absolutely nothing wrong with pushing them. When they were born, it was my responsibility to feed them a couple times per day. When it was time for them to learn to walk, it was my responsibility. It was my responsibility to help them to sound the letters that they needed to learn. It is also my responsibility to push them as far and as hard as I can, because the upbringing that I had proved to me that you can do it, and there's absolutely no excuse for not doing it. I want today for us to understand, when you find your why, never let it go. And ask yourself your why very often. And I have a couple of whys here. Why do I travel here each semester? Why do I sacrifice the time spent watching Netflix? Why do I sacrifice the time with my family and friends? Why do I sacrifice the time fighting the Miami traffic? After you've answered these whys, you have to come up with a how. And the how has to have a must. So you must study. There's no way that you're going to get from point A to point B in a college experience without putting in the time and the effort and the work that it takes. A lot of times I hear the excuse, oh, this class is too difficult, or this is too hard. And I remember the nights sitting with my daughter on my lap, studying for an exam after hard days of work, picking up my children, doing homework with my husband, cooking, and figuring out how we can make this work. And that very experience, my daughter turned out to be a great reader. She received an honor for reading across Broward, for reading 100 books in a short space of time. And at one point I asked her, where did you get this love of reading? And she says, but mommy, you're always reading. Little did she know I had to. I was studying. I didn't enjoy the thick books that I had to read. But to her young mind, mommy was always reading. And so what did she do? She just always read. And so we must develop that must in us. I must study. I must be focused. I must use my time wisely. I must tune out the voices around me that tell me that I can't, or that I study too much, or I can always do that next week. I must be on time and participate. Nothing annoyed me more in college than the kids, who showed up late and then they want you to share the notes and the homework. You must show up and be respectful of your own time and other people's time. Participate, be on time, complete the assignments. Now, there are some of us in this room who may be first-generation college students, and we don't have those examples to reach for. That auntie or that mom or that dad who went to college and can help us through the college experience. Sometimes we're torn between working and helping the family in some way or going to college. Sometimes it's just not having that support of someone to say, you can do this, let me encourage you. And all these factors sometimes drive fear and doubt into the decision to go to college. I would like to leave a poem with you, and this poem was from Napoleon Hill's famous book, Think and Grow Rich. It says, if you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win but think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you lose, you've lost. For out in the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. If you've got to aim high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the strongest or fastest man, but sooner or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. So I'd like to lay a charge today. I'd like to charge you to set your goal high. Set your graduation date from the very first day you start. Tell yourself, this is the day I'm going to graduate. Impress yourself with the idea of the completion of the task that you've just embarked on. Convince yourself, convince your subconscious, convince everything within you that this is achievable and that you're going to do it. Make your plans fit into your new goal. Set your goal and make all your plans fit into that goal. It is easy to get sidetracked. It is easy to say, I can do this next year. It is easy to say, I can just go back next semester. But you understand that time waits for no man. So you have just wasted one semester when if you had stuck it out, you would have completed because time would have passed. And so now is always the right time to do whatever it is you want to do. I wasn't sure I could do it at 10 years old when I had to walk 15 miles 3 towns away to go to school. By the time I came home, I was so tired and worn out. And if you think that that was going to buy me some sympathy from my grandma, do you know what my grandma would always say? She would always repeat this to me, and I've written it down so many times. She would say, the heights by great men, reached and kept, were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward through the night. And so that, the repetition of that in my mind told me that there would be no sympathy after I've walked, after I've studied, after I've labored in the books. It told me that there wouldn't be any sympathy because you can do it. And so today I just leave with you, you can do it. The decision is yours. When my daughter graduated high school, there were no two ways about it. You are going to go to college. You are going to study hard. You are going to do it. If it means being up late at night if you're a night person, if it means waking up early if you're a morning person, the people who love those 8 o'clock classes, and some other folks are still asleep and have not woken up, whatever works for you, make it work. And don't make success an option. Make it your must. Make it the answer to your why. And impress yourself with the idea of your success. Make the other people around you believe in your success. Act the way you want to be. Feel the way you want to be. And compel the universe and life and those around you to come on your side. If the conversations that they're having with you are really not up your alley, strike up a conversation from a textbook or two and see how they like that sometimes. They might either join in or they might just leave you alone. But at the end of the day, your success is your responsibility. My success was my responsibility, and I was not willing to take no for an answer. So whether I had a family or a full-time job and going to school full-time at the same time, I was destined to succeed because I made it my passion. So I thank you this afternoon for allowing me to share with you what I hope was enlightening and uplifting to you. And to you I say, I wish you all the success. Parents, I wish you all the success. The sacrifices sometimes that we make us feel more joyful for graduation than our children. But at the end of the day, everyone succeeds when we all do our best. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Amazing. It was. Thank you so much. you were not inspired after hearing that? Like, how many of you came in and just didn't know what you were going to get out of it? Just raise your hand. It's okay. You can be honest with me. But when, look at even the children. Yes, the babies. But thank you for instilling that with us. And that was your grandmother that made that point of contact. How many of us have our grandmothers that have that impact on our lives? Right? They're there, just like our parents, and that sacrifice that they made. Look, just amazing to see the outcome. So, hope you were taking notes. If you didn't, start writing something down. Get a pen and paper. Make sure you keep these notes, and thank you so much. It was amazing. Now we're gonna celebrate some of our students. Like, you know how you come in the first year? You guys did so well. And if you're in this room, you really, really believed in what you were gonna do, and you committed to that. That's important. The more we celebrate that, the more that gives you the push to get through the next semester and the next school year. And that's our mission and our goal. Our senior advisor, Miguel Murphy, I have a few that are out doing open house. We have so many events tonight. But come on down and let's celebrate some of our students' success.
Thank you, Ms. Guillaume. So I'll start by saying thank you, George, for the round of applause. So I must say that this is an extremely biased room, and I want to thank Susie and Corbin Barr for giving me the space to celebrate our first year students. And you all that are here this evening are representing a group of 86 students who performed just as well as you did with a 3.5 or higher. Others could not. Let's give them a round of applause. Hector, I'm going to need you to come take your flowers. Yes. So they're representing 86 students, some of which could not be here for a number of reasons: class, work, etc., transportation constraints. But they do share with me, those that couldn't be here, that they really wanted to. And then I have another group of students that are completing. So let's give them a double round of applause. And they're representing a group of students, and I'll come back to some numbers, right? A group of 56 students who are completing in the 2-year timeline. And these are a subset of first-year students who started in fall of 2017. So they're not every student, but they're representing that population. So I've decided that I would have stayed with them for their entire time. And I see Javier, and I see Tyree. Actually, Tyree was in this seat last year. And Iresa, let's give Iresa a round of applause as well. She actually made sure everyone checked in, and she was acknowledged last year. She too is finishing up in the 2-year timeline as well. Now, so there's 56 of you, and you're representing that population. And every year as an advisor, I am exposed to literally 500 plus students, right? So this group, first year, 86 of 528. Right? So that's a very small group, just to let you know where you are. And then 56 of about 500, right? So what we're trying to do, and particularly this group, the institution does get performance funding from the state to ensure that students graduate. So we do want to highlight those students who are actually meeting that goal, not only for yourselves, but for the institution. So there's another group in class here who are in class, and I want to acknowledge them. Let's give them a round of applause. It's my Principles of Management course, which the first class is this evening. So I thought it would be appropriate to merge first-year students, second-year students, my first class, and I love family, right? Susie mentioned grandmother. I can't get my grandmother to stop being my grandmother, you know, and sometimes I take that for granted, but you know, she allows me to be a superhero. food to, just stuff I don't even want to talk about because it won't make me sound grown. But she's there, and that support is very, very, very helpful. And so, like, I just came from an intense conference in Los Angeles, the NASPA Conference of Student Affairs Administrators. So I'm directly off of a flight here, so I'm really happy. So don't want to go on and on. I want to start with my first group, and I'll call you up, and hopefully Brian can help me take a single photo with each one of them and a group photo as well. So this is not necessarily in alphabetical order. Mercedes Acuna, let's give her a round of applause. And I'm gonna ask my colleagues from the Caribbean Bar Association. Yes, yes, yes.
You'll definitely remember this when you go up. Angela Chin? Angelica Chin. I'm sorry. Come on now.
And Angelica.
Oh, Angelica. Oh, go ahead.
Angelica is actually like a superhero first-year student.
Yes.
Who's going to China this
Yes.
summer.
Yes. She's a part of the study abroad program, and you had to learn. You took Chinese language 1,
I did 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3. So these are the opportunities that.
I had to approve those credits. I was a little bit concerned.
I know.
But she presented a good case.
Okay, good.
And she also helped with the literacy project with giving back the books to kids for the holidays. So thank you so much.
Janeris Diaz Vasquez. And Janeris is also an intern. Some of you have spent some time with me already, 2 to 5 hours a week, keeping things rolling on campus, and I am very appreciative of that.
That's a memorable photo. Next we have Hector Garcia, and Hector is pretty amazing. He did an app development in high school for. Tell us about your app. I'm sorry, this is just unique. This is not normal. Tell them about your app.
Don't be shy. Tell
Okay.
everybody.
Let's go.
Who wants the microphone?
Well, it was basically an app that I did with my friend in high school to help kids get fed at a younger age, because now kids are getting phones earlier. The average age is 8 years old, so basically it's for kids to get fed.
Awesome.
Hector is one of the few students who follow me on social media, Instagram. So he went with me to Panama and LA. So there's a heart in the middle of the night. Hector. Adriana Martinez, also an intern. And I'm trying to get Adriana a job. She's like, no, listen, she's not trying to work yet.
Experience.
I wish I didn't have to. I'm just kidding. Nadia Raul has her own YouTube channel.
Oh, tell us about your YouTube channel. The creativity of our students is just so amazing. From app development, YouTube, social media has really taken over, but it's giving them a platform to just share while they're in high school. That's how I started with my first job. I took pictures in college.
Anar Saram Singh, my Trini ambassador. We talk about roti and carnival and doubles. Nobody relates to me on that level like this guy. You know, carnival season in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Oh, a lot.
Make us cry. Sorry, Dwayne. We spent carnival studying. Jax Virgilin, the other half of the YouTube channel.
Okay, now I want to know what this YouTube channel is about.
You know, they came to me because I have a YouTube channel too, so they were like, you know, yours it's good, but you need to expand your audience. You need to go on campus. You know, when the cafeteria opens, you need to go interview people about this food. But they've been doing that because their channel is the last one I saw. Which one's McDonald's? Which one's Burger King? And people were getting that wrong. So did I? It seems like I'm missing a few. Yeah, I missed quite a few. We'll fix that. So let me jump over to this group. I'll come back to this group. So our award of completion is those students who are completing in 2 years, right? The recommended 2 years. And there's one person who already finished. You know who it is. And he's already done. It's Ollie Bates. Yeah, come on down.
Congratulations.
I'll be working in the Fire Academy, so anyone, and so did Iresa. So if you're interested in the Fire Academy, these are your links.
All right.
Kasiola Thelusma. The young man who's broken the most protocols in terms of check-in. Mr. Murphy, I don't need to do that. Quick question. I'm thinking of going to FSU, but I've applied to FIU. I don't know. My mom's cooking is good. And that's really the deal break. I know my grandmother's cooking is good too. That's why I'm still here. Taylor Wilson. You know, I attended a workshop at NASPA in Los Angeles, and Taylor came to mind because the workshop was focused on how do you advise students virtually, right? How do you mentor them virtually? Because Taylor's like, I don't have time. Come to your office, just put these classes on my schedule. You didn't say it like that, but usually, right. So with that in mind, and with that workshop, it was beautiful. I thought about you. So those of you who, your friends are like, I can't find Mr. Murphy because he's always traveling, they can email me. I'll respond. They just need to express that they have very difficult schedules.
Javier Cortez.
Javier Cortez.
Javier. Yeah. Here.
FSU. I was hiding the all right, Mr. Viking from Norland. So I have a special love for Miami Gardens. That's the community that I reside in. That's the community that I chair the Caribbean Affairs Advisory Committee and advise that population on behalf of the city. And Tyree came in a year that we were actually focused on getting more students through the process of college, focused on Miami Gardens, including Carroll City. Not that we don't love all schools, we do. But we actually had done last year for the first time, and we're doing more schools this year. We bring them on campus during their senior year to make the orientation process a little bit easier. So if you have a son or daughter at your high school that's part of our feeder, ask them, when are they coming to North Campus? Because we want to make that orientation process a little bit seamless. But Tyree came back with me to Norland, so I just want to put that out there, that he has helped me in terms of recruitment. One moment, Brian. He also received a full scholarship to Tuskegee University. Yeah. How do I know these things? Yeah.
We did a whole video conversation, so.
That's big. No worries, parents.
I see a proud mom in the back. Just like when I was on Facebook streaming, I'm proud of you. I'm like, I'm trying to go through a conference, not trying. Erland Pierre. Breaks Protocol 2. Friday afternoon, 6 p.m., Christmas break. Finds me in the courtyard upstairs. Can you help me? But she is, it's those tactics that get you to the end. Right? So sometimes you do have to, kind of move through, that kiosk, right? Check in, queue flow, whatever. That's why we have the internship opportunity for those of you who are doing well. It's to really eliminate that wait time so that you can sit right there, get your concerns addressed, do your homework, and feel like a staff member, get a job, graduate. Nicholas Samudio. Is it you that you're going to? No? You're going to tell us? We've been, because Susie would have been happy. And tell us your major? Physics.
Oh my days.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's one physics major in this group and one math major. It's Nick. And he's finishing up, but he's not here this evening. Yeah. Go math and physics.
Yes.
Ooh, go physics. Yeah.
And Robert.
Wonderful.
Yes. So those of you who I do need to get your certificate, we're going to do an intermission and we're going to call up Ketler to give us 2 songs, sax, and then I'm going to acknowledge Lois and Miss Williams with your certificate. So we'll get that. Let me introduce Ketler.
Yeah, wait. Ketler did graduation last year. And he came out with his Haitian flag. Sorry, guys.
So, not to be corny, but look, if you didn't get your ad, I see you guys, Nicole, Iresa, and Hector. Well, if you can meet them. Yeah, so if you didn't get your certificate, you're gonna get it. It's there. Oh, I was supposed to introduce Ketler. My apologies. So Ketler is now at FIU. So let's give Ketler one more round of applause. And it's right about 7, so I'm gonna call back up the Caribbean Bar Association and we're gonna acknowledge Nicole, Ms. Williams, the few. All right, so Miss Abigail Lesota, let's give her a round of applause.
Micaiah Williams? Micaiah Williams here? Oh! Hi, beautiful.
Everyone has settled on dance or business.
Oh, sweet.
I'm just putting her on the spot because her parents are here. Can't not have this.
You can do both. Louis Perez. All right, Louis.
So Louis showed up for my first ever drone test on campus.
Have you improved since then?
I haven't.
It didn't say.
Nicole Zach. Nicole is also an intern.
All right.
All right. I am installed.
They got the heels, girl. They got the heels. Anna Hernandez. All right. Anna.
She's also an intern.
All right.
She encouraged Nicole.
Oh, and certificate. You look good, girl. You look good. All right. Congratulations. Oh, and that's it. Okay. Well, definitely. Huh? We're gonna take a group picture, so don't leave, guys. We love group pictures because this is evidence that this happened. Number 1. Number 2, thank you to the Caribbean Bar Association. I'm so grateful for you guys. I know it's been 5 years we've been on this journey. Thank you. On April 3rd, we are having a celebration celebrating 5 years with Aspire to Inspire. Everyone is invited, 11 o'clock, room 3201. You'll be getting the emails. Parents, if you want to take a lunch break and come on campus, you can come and celebrate with us as well. And thank you to our speaker. I'm going to start showing up to your office. I know where you're located. So if you guys live in the city of Miramar, there it is.
So one more announcement to this group. Commencement is on Saturday, May 4th at 8 a.m. So one of the gifts that you get is an extra ticket from the dean's office. Wow. It's 3 tickets per family. So I will vouch if you attended tonight for a 4th ticket. So I usually say pick your 3 favorite people. You can pick 4. All right, and so look out for more information about commencement in early April, where you will be able to pick up your cap and gown from the bookstore. So everyone here applied for graduation. Either we automatically graduated you, because we're getting better, or you're completing a course or 2 in the summer, and I helped you with that, or one of my colleagues helped you with it. So the reason why for you, at least this is a closure, because sometimes we don't get an opportunity to say goodbye. So for you and this group, it's an opportunity to say goodbye, good luck in your next journey, and I will miss you. And this group, keep your momentum. You know, it's still tough. You do well in your first semester, but as you get into those higher level math courses or in your electives, it can get a little bit challenging. So my door is open. You can still reach out. You should have my cell phone number. So this is like the 2 unique groups on campus who have my cell phone number. Use it. All right, so, and I think we can end here. To my class, we're gonna go to class. We're gonna go to class to just go over the syllabus, and shouldn't be too long. All right, thank you for your patience. So group pictures, yes. So class is like, this is the longest first class ever. But this is set in some context, at least from my experiences on campus. So group picture with the completers first. Those who are completing, Caribbean Bar, join us. And then a group picture with our first year students, and then a combined picture. So hopefully that takes 2 minutes. So just a tip, we're going to cover reward and recognition in class, and so this is one of those, you're no stranger to acknowledgement.
All right, if you guys can come a little forward. All right. Alrighty. Here we go. Everyone, big smiles. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, ready? Here we go. Make sure you can see me. There we go. Ready in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Thank you so much. And then everyone else now too. Okay, ready? Here we go. Big smile. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Over here. Eyes over here, please. Thank you very much.
Parents, there's been a request if any of you want to take a picture with the group as well.